What's up guys? So in this video I'm going to talk about some really cool topics. So let's start by getting excited. In April of this year, just a few months ago, Obama announced this new project called the Brain Project. So what this is a multi-billion-dollar project that's going to last 10 or more years, whose goal is to study and understand how the brain works. BRAIN stands for Brain Research Through Advancing Innovative Neurotechnologies. And I'll just add a link here if you want to check it out, or maybe you can Google it and find out more if you're interested. If you've heard about the Human Genome Project, this is really similar to that, but instead of DNA, we're dealing with brains. This could potentially lead to some crazy advances in science. We could cure Alzheimer's, or we could create Terminator robots. So before I go any further into this vlog, I just want to say that I'm not a neuroscientist, I'm just an engineer. I'm an engineer that happens to be working on a team that's contributing to this effort, so I just know a little bit about it and I wanted to share it with you guys. First, let's just go over why it would be mind-blowing if we could replicate how the brain processes information. A computer processor and a brain are both processing units in a sense, but they're good and bad at different things. A computer will always be able to solve 10,000 math problems faster than you'll ever be able to, but you could probably recognize your mom's face more accurately than any computer could. A robot could remember more essays than you could ever remember, but if a robot tripped on a staircase, it'd probably crash and burn, while you would compensate and check your step. Unless you're a super clumsy person, and then you would also crash and burn. Also try to fathom just how our memory works. Everything you know, everything you've experienced through your whole life is somehow stored in these neurological connections between neurons inside your brain. Is that mind-blowing? I don't know how it works. I'm not sure many people in the world really know how that works exactly, but it sounds a little more elegant than having big-ass servers sitting somewhere that hold all your Facebook and Twitter updates. Wouldn't it be cool if we could figure out how brain memory works? Or actually, wouldn't it be even cooler if we could figure out how the brain works in general? Memory is just one part of what the brain does. Brain does motor control, it processes all your sensory input, it does a ton of stuff. I'm going to sidetrack a little bit and talk about processors, just a little bit. So inside your cell phone or your computer, you have many different processors. Most people are usually aware about their system's general purpose processor. It's usually the one running the operating system and probably the majority of the applications. Those processors are crazy powerful, they can do a ton of stuff, but they're actually kind of general. There's a lot of other more specialized processors that run inside your cell phone. So one example is the graphical processing unit, also known as the GPU. The GPU will speak a completely different processor instruction set than your Pentium 10 will. Your general purpose processor might speak instructions like add or multiply, but your GPU might speak an instruction like draw polygon. That was a really crude example. I just want to convey the point that different processors are specialized to do different things. Your general purpose processor could do all the work that your GPU does, but it just do it much slower. For all you gamers out there, have you ever tried running some crazy 3D game without hardware acceleration? It's just horrible and terribly slow. Besides graphics, there's also processors which specialize in air interface protocols, aka when you make phone calls on your cell phone. So when you call your mom on the phone on the weekend, there's specialized processors that's not the general purpose processor that talks to the local cell base station and lets you talk with your mom. The general purpose one might barely be involved. When you have one big system, either your computer or your cell phone, it could have a variety of different processors doing different things. It's not just one. So they all work together and have different applications behind them. Alright, so how does this relate back to Obama, the Brain Project, and all that neural network stuff? Well, what if you had a processor that was specialized in a neuro instruction set architecture? Instead of instructions like add or multiply, a neural processor could have instructions like update neuron potential. That would be one instruction. There are a lot of universities and research institutions that study these neural networks. They design these big models of how they think the brain should work, and they try to simulate it on the computers to check if it's doing anything intelligent. But does the average professor's computer have a neuro-specialized processor in it? Nope, it doesn't, right? They just have normal Pentium 10s or some AMD processor inside their computer, It's not specialized for any kind of neural computations. Because of this, when neuroscientists try to simulate their neural models, it runs really slow on these computers. This would be analogous to you trying to run Call of Duty without a graphics card. It'd take like 5 days to load your gun. So I work at the R&D division of Qualcomm Incorporated, and we're trying to contribute or help out with this whole brain project thing. If you don't know, Qualcomm is known for building processors, and usually those processors are inside your cell phone. And since I've been talking about all this, you can probably take a guess about what our R&D team is trying to do for this brain project. Remember, hardware and software are equally important in any system. You can't have hardware without software. You can't write software on top of nothing. It's like if you erase your hard drive and try to turn on your computer. Your computer is as useful as a brick, probably. Maybe less useful than a brick. If there was some crazy magical neural-optimized processor, but there's not the right neural software, it's gonna be useless too. Before we build Terminators, we really have to understand how the brain actually works, so we could potentially write software to replicate that. Once we have the hardware and the software in place, we could potentially program the learning neural network that can go in Arnold Schwarzenegger's head, right? And once we program the learning neural network, we can have Judgment Day, and it's gonna get crazy. Anyways, that pretty much sums up the video. I just wanted to introduce this whole initiative to you guys, so at least you're aware. Not many people follow what Obama does for the scientific community. The whole thing seems really daunting and ridiculous at first. How are you gonna map out and understand the whole brain? But if you look back on it, I'm pretty sure the Human Genome Project and mapping out the DNA sequence was also a crazy idea when they first introduced it, and they completed it, so maybe this could potentially be completed in 10 or 20 years or something. I hope you liked the video. Just drop me a comment if you have any questions or anything, and I'll try to answer as best I can. I'll catch you guys next time, alright?